With the release of Nintendo's newest game, Mario Golf Super Rush, there has been a decent amount of talk about the value of games. This also concerns upcoming ports such as Skyward Sword and many other titles of the past and the future. People are left asking, what's worth $60? I'm going to address that later in this video, but first I want to talk about a few ways to identify a game's value. Hey guys, I'm Tiller. I stream live on Twitch at Tiller Streams, and I post weekly videos about gaming and gaming-related topics. Now, the first thing to consider is what defines value to you. Keep in mind that value is subjective. You have to ask yourself, what makes a game worth that price tag? Is it replayability, fun, the length, story, the amount of content present? There's a good chance that it's more than one of these. And in order to figure out what you want out of a game, you should sort these into a hierarchy. Now, for example, let's say your top priority is story. If you were to buy Super Mario Odyssey, that would likely not hit your top priority. It has a story, but not a deep or very creative one at all. Would your lower priorities, such as fun, content, or replayability, be able to overwrite your top priority of story? Figuring out the value of something isn't as easy as looking at your priorities and saying, well, if it doesn't meet my first priority, it's automatically off the list. Especially with games and how varied the actual fun aspect of games can be. So what makes this game less worth than this one? Stopping right here to make a little bit of an editor's note, I am using Mario Odyssey and Mario Golf because I have not played these games, at least not extensively. And the reason why I want to use these games is because I don't know a lot about them. So the best way for me to show you guys how to compare things in value is by doing my own research about the game and presenting it here. So no, I am not saying that Mario Golf is worth more than Mario Odyssey, and I'm not saying that Mario Odyssey is worth more than Mario Golf. The point of this is to show you how to do a comparison. The big starting line is always the content. Everyone, every Reddit post, every Twitter thread always compares the content of the game and to the value of the game. Content typically is about playable stuff, so cross off the gallery images, the music libraries. This is fully about what you can play and what you experience while playing the game itself. Using our base examples of Odyssey and Mario Golf, Odyssey has a full-blown story mode with multiple worlds to explore. There are about 17 worlds or stages, each which is fully explorable and traversable. On top of that, there are 880 moons, which are the primary collectible in this game. Golf has about 6 courses, in which up to 4 players can play along with Battle Golf and other modes to spice up the gameplay. As you can see here, just by comparing numbers, technically the clear-cut winner is Odyssey. There is content for one player to sift through. The comparison is not exactly one-to-one. You cannot compare a game really one-to-one unless every feature is exactly the same. In this case, Golf has 4 players, Odyssey does not. So, can you really compare those two? Because of this comparison, there is technically less content still in Golf for a single player. However, for multiple players, the experience is enhanced because you can have a multiple groups of different people playing the game. This means that there is technically more content than there seems to be. At the same time, Nintendo has stated that Golf is a game that is enhanced by the fact that it will continue to get content for an unspecific amount of time and in the form of characters and stages. However, keep in mind unspecific. This means it could gain enough content to stand on its own 2 feet, but the key here is could. Mario Odyssey, on release, pretty much had all the content already. It didn't need this backup of, in the future, you'll have more content. And this idea is kind of a bubbling problem in the games market that I'll address in a bit. But first, I want to talk about replayability. All games are technically replayable. However, there's an important distinction to make between replaying games purely because you enjoyed it and replaying a game because there was a reason to replay it. I don't want to switch the games in this example, however, I will give some examples of games that give you a reason to replay versus games that are replayable because you like them or you want to keep getting more of the experience. So, you can approach Mario Odyssey in the way of wanting to create new situations, gain more skill, and all of that. But golf has more replay value technically because you can go at it with 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. And on top of that, you can continue switching to different characters as well as learning the game itself. On top of that, you can also switch to different players. So the game has more long-term value. Mario Odyssey, once you've collected all 880 moons, there's technically no reason to go back and replay it. This does not mean that there is absolutely no reason to go back and replay it. Maybe you want to speedrun it, maybe you want to be better at it. Those are fine reasons to replay a game, but what I'm trying to state here is that Mario Golf would technically have more replay value because you can fully change the situation you are in. So, games as a service, I wanted to get back to this before, so here we're doing it now. I could turn this into a whole other video, and I do plan to eventually, but as of right now, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of games as a service. Games as a service means that over time, the game will receive new content, essentially justifying the initial price tag that might be a little high, because eventually you will have that content to play. So you are purchasing this game with the promise and the expectation that new content will be provided. However, in this case, Nintendo has not specified how long support will continue. So that means how many characters will be added? I don't know. How many stages will be added? I don't know. And ultimately, do we even have a roadmap for the visible future? No. So, that means they could add 1 course, 2 characters, and call it quits. This games as a service model is not a viable thing for the consumer. It puts a value on a game because you never know when they could drop it, but it also drops the value of a game personally because you never know when they will drop it. Games are meant to be fun. I mean, there are people out there who will tell you otherwise, but I don't think that's something I would even bother getting into. The fun of a game is ultimately subjective. You may be able to get a solid 200 hours out of golf and 8 out of Mario Odyssey. That just means that you would enjoy one game more than the other. And that's what counts for value in the end. However, if you are unsure of whether you will enjoy a game, and since you cannot return a opened game for a full refund most of the time, you may want other people's opinions. The problem is, there's so many reviewers and you have no idea how to pick a review that's right for you. Someone could give a game a 2 out of 10, and another person could give it an 8 out of 10. And there's no easy way around this. The best thing to do is to find reviewers who seem like they like the same things as you, and to find reviewers who dislike the things that you like. And that's because you may get a clearer perspective on a game when somebody rants about the things they don't like, and those wind up being things that you like. For example, let's take a standard gaming journalist review of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I remember there was a lot of controversy around this because someone said, these games need an easy mode. And a lot of people disagree with that. That means it's a difficult game, and if you're someone who likes difficult games, that might be the game for you. Because it doesn't have that option to go into easy mode. But a regular reviewer who plays Dark Souls and likes Dark Souls, or plays Sekiro and likes it, may never mention the difficulty as a big talking point. So it's important to find these two reviews and tolerate. You don't necessarily have to like, but it'd be better if you find someone that you do like. Tolerate the point where they talk about things that they dislike, and they are things that you like. Ultimately, fun is subjective, and it's hard to fully invest in a game that doesn't encourage your enjoyment, no matter what feature you happen to enjoy. So you're probably here like, what the hell? This is a pretty, this and there video. You're not really sticking to a main point, and that's because the value of a game is subjective. Ultimately, it's important to examine a game as a full package when you buy it. If you truly believe you would get more enjoyment out of Mario Golf Super Rush than Mario Odyssey, then you can buy it at full price if you want. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's good to heed advice from others, but it's also important to know what you want. The value of a game is 100% up to the buyer. Listen, I got like 70, 80 hours out of Final Fantasy 15, and I got an hour out of Tales of Zestiria. Alright? Both of these are controversial games in their own ways, but ultimately I felt like Final Fantasy 15 was a better value. And people will tell me that, oh, Final Fantasy 15 wasn't a good game, you know, I didn't like it, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna tell you that I enjoyed it, and I liked the game. It's 100% up to you what you like. And make sure that even if you have other people's opinions, you can still enjoy what you enjoy. And I realize that there's no way to guarantee a value of a game, since it's subjective. It's important to also do your research if you're unsure of a purchase, especially for the price. Sometimes it is better to wait for a sale. And you need to do the research to figure out if you believe it's worth it to wait for a sale or if it's worth it to buy it now. And it might be disappointing, and I'm sorry that this video ends with a pretty ambiguous answer of what value is, but can't really put it into a simple, here are the bullet points, 1, 2, 3, you know, is this worth it? You have to do the research. That means that people will make videos about these games. I'll make videos about some games. So that's the way it is with these kinds of products. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.